Hello YouTube, welcome to another Explain 11 video. I thought today we'd have a look at the Toliss Airbus A319 and we'd have a look at it in VR. Now I'm using the Oculus headset for my VR, and the reason I haven't been doing many videos just lately is because I've been using VR quite well. I use it all the time now. I don't fly in 2D anymore. I absolutely love explaining VR. It's fantastic, and if you're thinking of getting VR, then I would highly recommend it. You'll never go back to flying in 2D again. There are little issues with VR at the moment. You know, the cockpits are a little bit blurry, and the performance, you know, it does give you a performance hit. But if you've got a decent system, you'll be able to run VR and explain no problem. You get around 20-30 frames per second in VR without any problem. So this is the outside of the Toliss, as you can see. We're at Dublin Airport in Ireland, and it's a nice sunny day, as you can see, and I'm just looking around with the Oculus, and we'll have a look. It's difficult to explain. I'm sitting by the aircraft now, and it looks as though I'm standing next to a real aircraft. It's absolutely massive, and I'm standing by the wing. The engines look enormous. A little bit of a problem with the shadow over there as I move my head. Can you see the shadow moving? I'm not sure why that's doing that, but nevertheless, that's not to worry. So what we'll have a look at today is we'll have a look inside the cockpit, and we'll show you how we started up from cold and dark, and we'll show you a few little things with the that we use in VR. So let's nip into the flight deck. Now to get into the cockpit from outside, if I'm looking at the right controller now, and if I click on the button with the three lines, that's the advanced menu button. Click on that, comes up with some icons all around the controller. Now the top one, which is a yoke, looks like a yoke. If we move the hat switch forward, you can see now it says get in pilot seat. So if I press down on the hat switch, that puts me into the cockpit, and as you can see now, we're in the Toliss A319 cockpit, and I can tell you now, it's absolutely fantastic in VR. I wish you could get the the same view as I'm looking through the Oculus glasses now, because until you actually try them, you don't realise how good they are, how good Explain is in VR. You can't tell from the Oculus mirror, because it's obviously it's on a flat screen. So here we are in the cockpit, and as you see, I've got the right controller here. I've got the left controller in my left hand, and really all I do with use the left controller for now is I've got the hat switch set up so that I can move about the cockpit. So if I move it right, I can move across to the co-pilot seat, and down, and back across and up. Just makes it so you can actually position yourself how you feel comfortable in the cockpit. So there we go. I'll just pop that controller down because I don't need it for a minute or two. Now if we click on the again the advanced menu button on the right controller, click on the three lines again, and go down to plug. Well, you can go down or up, it doesn't matter which. To the plugins menu, across right with the hat switch. We want the Toliss menu, which is at the bottom there. Just click onto that, pull the trigger, and there's the Toliss menu. Now it's quite large, as you can see, so we might have a bit smaller. I just wanted to show you that at the moment, if we look at the ground services, we've got external power switched on, so we could just pop that menu out the way. By the way, I've got the Avitab the Avitab that comes with the integrated into the Toliss now, but you do need the Avitab plugin, which is on the explain.org website. It's a free plugin, and as you can see, I use it for the charts. I've got Dublin charts in here at the moment, and you can see the aircraft is positioned on the ground chart there. If I click on that little icon there, turns the aircraft off, click it back on, puts the aircraft back on. So it's really useful for, you know, I set up, usually before I do a flight, use what charts I'm going to use for the departure and pop them in the Avitab so they're there to hand. So that's great. Okay, so let's have a look at the overhead panel now. If you notice, the external power available light is on there in green. So if I just pull the trigger and they get the laser from the right controller, I can actually go up and touch it and just press it on like that. Depends on how your sensors are set up. It doesn't matter, you can use the laser or just point and click. Put some fuel pumps on there, and the fuel should have clicked that on as well first, and we'll put some seatbelt signs on. Just pull the trigger again, pull the trigger to the switch and pull it again. IRSs just at the top there, pull the trigger and twist the wrist, and there's the IRSs on there. Now you see the screens are all dark at the moment, so we'll just brighten those up. Again, pull the trigger, twist the knob, and just pull the trigger, twist the knob. Same for the up and lower ECAM screens. MCDU, just point the trigger at the brightness control and keep clicking that, get those brightnesses up a little bit. Now I need the left controller now for this, just to move across to the co-pilot side, just to turn his screens up as well. Makes it a bit, you can do it from the captain's side, but it's just a bit easier if you move over. You can see the switches a bit better. There we go, I'll just move back. Do that, okay. Now if we just have a look at the, well, first of all, the screens will pop out if you click on them, which is nice and useful. You can, again, you can move them about where you want. I don't usually pop them out, to be honest. There's really no need to. Same with the MCDU, that pops out. The MCDU, you can program it in the pop out, but it's a little bit tricky at the minute. It's a bit hit and miss whether these buttons work, and I'm told by Toliss that it's an explain thing and not a fault of the aircraft. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But if I click the initiate button there, or the init button, as you can see, it does work, but it takes a few clicks to get it to go, you know. And if I just type in I, you see it's hit and miss. Sometimes it works straight away, and other times it doesn't. I don't know why. But stroke. Just put Birmingham EG. B in there. Works fine from the bottom one by incident. Let me just show you that. And incidentally, the X button on the right controller, you can actually zoom down, get a better view. So if I just go EG B, I'll put that into the. Oh, by the way, in the version I'm using at the moment in the Toliss, there is a slight delay inputting data into the MCDU, and I believe that's how it is in the proper aircraft. So if you think it doesn't work the first time, just give it a second before the data goes in. Click on the IRS align button, and I'll start aligning up. Put the radios on, just click the switch there. That drives you mad, that Maldonado. If you're on 122-800 in Dublin, you sometimes get the Maldonado 80s. So we'll just switch that off a minute. There we go. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at the engine start procedure. Before we can do that, we need to pop the APU on. So we there's the master switch. We just click on the master. Now some people say you need to wait for the flap to open before you click the start button, and some people say you don't. Now I don't know which is true in the real aircraft, whether they wait for the flap to open or they start it before the flap opens. Flap's open now, as you can see on the bottom screen there, so we'll just click the start button and we'll wait for the APU to start up. It will say available on that bottom button there, and then we can put the APU bleed on. So we'll just wait for that. While I'm just waiting for that, the speed brakes up and down, just pull the lever, everything works. I think every switch and button works in this Toliss in VR. Certainly all the things you need to work anyway. TCAS, everything fantastic, really nice aircraft. FPS is really good in it. I would say it's probably one of the best aircraft I've got in X-Plane in VR for the FPS. It's really good. Getting 30 at the moment. It's locked at 30 in VR. It won't go any higher. It doesn't normally anyway, but it'll go down to 20. Especially if you're flying over orbits in the UK, it will drop down. Sometimes a bit lower than 20, but it doesn't really affect the. You don't get a lot of jittering about it. It's really good. I don't notice it anyway. APU's on now. It's available. Pop the bleed on. Okay, and we'll just pop this left control down, and then we'll have a look at starting the engines. Okay, so let's get the engines going now. So we've got the APU bleed on, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop the upper ECAM display in front of me there now, as you can see what's going on with the engines. You don't need to do this, but I just thought I'd show you what you can do in VR. So we switch the engine switch to starter, and wait a few seconds, and we'll pop some fuel in there, and you can see the N2 numbers are spooling up now on the right engine display. What we're looking for now is this gauge will start spooling up as it is now, and it will come up with a message available. And as soon as it does that, we'll just wait for that message to disappear, and then we can start the engine number 1. Shouldn't take too long. Just wait for that to spool up. As you can see at the bottom here, we've got seat belts, no smoking on, parking brake, TCAS is standby. Everything works in this TCAS. There we go. There we got the available. Just wait for that to disappear, and then we'll start engine 1. That will go off in a few seconds. So the engine stabilised. There we go. So we can click on the engine 1, just the back of the switch, and that one will start spooling up, as you can see now. I don't use the yoke in VR. I do have one on the desk. Although you can use the yoke, and of course the throttles. That's the gate moving away from the aircraft. Usually it moves away when you take the parking brake off for pushback, because I don't normally start the engines till it's pushing back. But I think it's moved because the engines are starting up. So what was I going to say now? Oh yeah, I'd use the throttles with the VR controller, but the yoke, I've got a physical yoke on the desktop which I like to use. It's just a little bit easier. Some people use both of the yoke and the throttles in VR with the controllers, but I just find it for me it's better to use the physical yoke on the desktop. Engines are started now, so we'll just get rid of that screen there. Click the starter back to normal. There we go. And as I say, we've got the engines running, and the IRSs have aligned now, and we could, if we got a filled the MCDU in properly, we could get the pushback going, and off we go. But I wish I could show you what it looks like in VR, but it's just, you can't. You got to try it yourself. But it's, honestly, it's of all the people I know that have purchased VR for X-Plane, they'd never go, but they don't fly in 2D anymore. It's like it's so immersive in VR. It's just unreal. It's the closest you will get to sitting in the aircraft in real life. So that's another quick look into the VR world of X-Plane. I hope you've enjoyed this short video. I will be doing some more. I'm still getting to grips with all the ins and outs of VR at the minute. I've done quite a few flights now in VR. I don't, as I said, I don't fly in 2D anymore. I only fly in VR, so I am getting more and more experience all the time, and I absolutely love it. It's the best thing I ever bought for a flight simulator. So until next time, we'll hope you're okay, and we'll see you another time.